Gemini. This is your June 2025 soul story. If you have a sun, rising or moon in the sign, it's your reading. Happy solar returns if you have a birthday this month. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. We're opening up for you with the energy of the Magician. I love that for you. I think it's really going to be about what you are ready for, what you're ready to say, what you're ready to share, what you're ready to face, what you're ready to change. You know, there is a confidence to advocate for yourself in this season. And remember, as the sun supports you, you know, you're going to be focused very much around your image, your profile, your reputation, how so much of the growth that has gone on the last year is now able to be expressed in a way that feels in alignment for you, okay? Now, we still have Jupiter in Gemini with you up until the 9th of the month, but of course we know that Jupiter is then going to be shifting signs into Cancer, okay? So when that happens on the 9th, we are sparking a new conversation, and it's going to be very much about the gut feel. Now for you, it's also lighting up that second house, right? That second house of finance, of property, of valuables, and how you value yourself. And I think that your Magician as a guide this month is very much helping you to know what to do with the energy that surfaces this month, okay? And remember, your Gemini, it's not going to be one thing. And I think that there is a sense of acceptance that you're coming to in a way that you never have before this month, that you actually need a little bit of everything in order to feel free, that you can't be restricted or you can't define things in such a narrow way that it feels like you are missing out or not honoring a part of yourself that wants to feel fulfilled in some way. Now we're moving through this sea change, and that means that you're going to have to find your sea legs a little bit, okay? So we know that that's happening. But I think that this month is also less about seeking and more about knowing. And that might come around in a way that sort of means that there's less of a need to ask the questions, because your higher self is already more strengthened in, you know, its ability to have that dialogue and conversation with you and to kind of keep you on track, to keep you in a place of peace with yourself. The Magician and the Knight of Wands is bringing a lot of energy your way. And I suppose the question is, how are you going to direct that? So early on in the month, it's probably going to be important for you to think and consider, you know, if I come into this season and all of a sudden I've got more physical energy, I've got more ideas, I've got more, whatever it is that's coming online, because we see that happening, and there's a harmonizing for you in the month of June that I really like. So what do we do with that energy? Because if we don't take a little bit of time to consider the intentions around things early on in the month, it might just feel like there's so much going on that you're not giving any real presence or real energy to the things that, in all honesty, are a priority for you. You have a lot of resources available to you through the month of June as well, and I want you to really keep that in your mind. So again, as Jupiter shifts sign into Cancer, you know, there's an energy here that's exalted, so there's much more of an ease and a flow. And remember, Cancer is a cardinal energy, which also means that there's going to be a directive to want to take action. So there's something being initiated here. The Knight is also bringing new messages and information, and the desire to want to launch, to progress, to move forward. And what sits behind him? The Magician. So this is a really powerful platform. This is a really powerful setting off point. You know, we've got that solar energy that's helping you. So the wisdom has already arrived for you. Now it's really about how deep you're going to take it. And one of the things that I think is interesting as we build up to this full moon in Sagittarius in your 7th house on the 11th of the month is you're going to be looking to put more boundaries in place. Now, you know, you've had a relationship to boundaries your whole life, and that's a learning curve for you. And it's not really about the boundary itself. It's about your awareness of kind of what the fallout of putting them in place means, okay? So the understanding that you're going to perhaps need some strength for that is also highlighted around that full moon, because you're letting go of something. But in order to let go of something, there's just like a natural need to sort of reassert, to draw a line, to express, to advocate. And this is what I'm saying about this month really being about what you feel ready for, okay? Now, what I want to say is that, this harmonizing energy is really strong in June, and there's definitely this gut feel that sort of carries you all the way through. However, as we approach the mid-month, we kind of arrive at this sort of critical point that might feel somewhat restrictive. And there's a combination of something old and something new. So let me explain that. On the 15th, we've got Mars and Uranus in this kind of tense standoff. Mars in Leo, Uranus in Taurus. And so this kind of feeling of security versus the need for freedom is playing out in some way for you, okay? Now, we also have Vesta, asteroid goddess, having shifted direct in Scorpio. So a lot has been resolved, particularly where there have been perhaps some feelings of, just challenges in some of the ways in which you've been almost relating to yourself, relating to others, and keeping something feeling safe and protected, or maybe having that safe space, okay? So this Mars and Uranus conversation feels like it's something that's already been active in the last year or so, and you've sort of bumped up against it probably numerous times, so it doesn't feel like anything new. But once again, you arrive at this point, and I feel like it's again this sense of, well, what are you ready to say? What are you ready to face? Because the loop perhaps has become so uncomfortable that it means that we have to deal with it, okay? Now, on the same day, Jupiter is also squaring Saturn. And here's the new conversation, right? Because Jupiter, now in Cancer, and Saturn, newly arrived into Aries, is bringing something different to the table that sort of comes into the mix with what has already been an existing theme or experience that you've been going through, okay? We've got the King of Wands here, and he's kind of facing off to this Knight. So I want to say you need to sort of hold your position, to hold your power, but also it is this need to face things, okay? Because in doing so, you're able to speak from the heart, and you're able to find solutions, creative solutions. That's one of the things that I would absolutely tell you between the Magician and the fire energy of these courts. Whatever surfaces for you mid-month, and whatever is going on in the entirety of June, actually, you're able to find some really significant ability to look at things differently, and to perhaps have some input and some insight from others, and really have the courage, right? It's about sort of bringing forth this new confidence and courage. So much really about our growth is our ability to expand and sit with the energy of discomfort. We can keep writing the affirmations, we can keep doing the meditations, but what we also have to do as part of the integration process is ensure that the physical body is understanding that process as well. So it's like, okay, here's the energy, here's the feeling that I want to bypass or suppress or run away from, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit with it until I move myself into a more regulated experience. And I really sense that this is what happens mid-month. Look at it as a little bit of a speed bump, okay? But it is going to sort of bring a critical point in terms of important themes and experiences that you need to address, okay? We're not going to get away with just ignoring what comes up and surfaces mid-month. Queen of Wands, a lot of fire energy working with you, a lot of passion coming forth, and the drive and the determination, and as it should be in your solar returns, right? There's this knowing, like I said, less seeking, more knowing. That reality is so much more fluid than it's ever been. Time as we know it is changing, and the antidote for that is this deep, profound state of presence. And, you know, she looks incredibly at peace here. And almost in a way, again, having asserted those boundaries and just trusting in her path, knowing that where you are is exactly where you are meant to be. You are right on time. You are not late for anything. And I think the peacefulness, the trust, the certainty of that is very important. There's also a strong theme of loyalty that surfaces for you in the month of June, Gemini, and how that plays out, whether that be connected into friendships, to loyal to the passions that you have, to the person that you want to become, the changes that you're trying to make. Your whole relationship with the idea of what loyalty means to you is going to be explored, okay? Which means that yes, there might be some challenges, but there'll also be some opportunities for you to really set your store and really come to a new place of foundational shift and change with that theme, okay? That might also include needing to resolve and let go of some things from the past that have been directly connected to the idea of loyalty, disloyalty, anything that comes up in that regard, okay? So, as we move forth deeper into June, Mars is shifting sign out of Leo and into Virgo. And, you know, in this energy, we've got Temperance coming through. Remember, a fellow Mercurial ruled sign, Virgo. You know, we're taking action, but we're also very contemplative of the details. I quite like how Temperance comes in, actually just maybe to soothe a little bit of that fire, particularly if you've been feeling exceptionally frustrated, okay? And that might happen sort of through that mid-month slight critical point speed bump energy I just talked about, right? So if there's a little bit of frustration that builds, know as we move forward, we're starting to maybe embrace a little bit more of that divine patience that's needed, but we're also being asked to take something in moderation, right? We don't want to go all gung-ho towards something and realize that there has been something that's been missed, or that actually that as an approach or an idea doesn't necessarily serve you in terms of ongoing balance and harmony, mind, body, and soul. You have learned so much, right? As I said, like the wisdom is here, but how deep are you going to take it now? So this is not just about doing things that are quick fixes. This is about putting things in place, or sharing or talking about things, or coming to the conclusions that are what is going to support me in the long term. What is the shift that actually helps me to feel harmony and balance, and like I've got some oxygen around me, not just today or for this month, but for the next year, for the next few years. These are the type of intentions that you're setting and that you're working with, and that you're thinking about. Remember, there's so many new astrological conversations that are happening. You know, you're coming up against things that you haven't considered or thought about before. You're being triggered in new ways, of course, as well. Now, Jupiter on the 18th also squares Neptune, right? Again, a new conversation coming up. So, you know, this can feel a little bit tense and somewhat illusionary in nature. It's kind of like if there is something that doesn't make sense, it feels like it's getting amplified. And again, maybe almost like a little bit of a trippy type of energy. You know, you can't quite make sense of something, but it might just feel a little bit difficult to digest or to process. Remember, your gut will help you to navigate your way through this. You may actually, though, around this time get some remarkable spiritual insights with regards to something, and really see it in a new way. Like, you know, it's like you've heard a message, now you hear it like in such a sort of vibrational frequency that it changes things. It changes how you look at something. It changes your perception of something. Now that's just ahead of our energy shifting into Cancer, and of course welcoming Solstice, such a beautiful time of the year, celebration wise. Oh, you've got the sun. I love that for you, Gemini. Look at all the warmth that's coming into your reading. There's so much warmth, there's so much vitality, there's so much energy to be harnessed and to be worked with. That's why you're going to want to have the right intentions. Again, this sort of creative outlet is expanding. And, you know, we also have this union, this sort of togetherness, this partnership that's almost looking like it's coming online. So it also indicates that around that solstice energy, perhaps an agreement and a decision, something super positive comes in that is enabling growth in some area of your life and actually brings about some good upside. You know, there's a real feeling of how this can support you, of how this helps you to feel more like yourself. But honestly, I think you get to that point by facing something, or being willing, courageous enough, brave enough to do what you know needs to be done. Like I said, what do you feel ready for? It's worth it, because even if there's a little bit of time or an energy of just sort of having to work at something a little bit, the outcome is worth it. Okay, so take the time with solstice. It's a beautiful realignment. It's a beautiful time in the year to mark. On the 24th, we've then got Jupiter and the Sun coming together in a really auspicious conversation. And that's right ahead of the new moon in Cancer on the 25th. And again, I feel like with second house energy for you, this Cancerian insight is going to be super supportive, particularly as you look at abundance in your world and how it's showing up for you, the patterns that you've resolved, the karma that you've let go of, like we talked about last month. And, you know, this is a time where actually the ideas are flooding in and you feel, do you know, sometimes it's like you have to feel valuable in yourself. You have to feel worthy and deserving of the things that come in for you. Sometimes they feel too big, they feel too much, they feel too challenging. But you're meeting them this month in a way that says, I can do this. And again, there's something about that support, that union, that agreement, that partnership, that coming together that sort of opens the door to something, okay? So take this fire energy, make it work for you. You can do extraordinary things in this month of June. The harmony energy is here, the flow energy is here. If you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we look at in my extended reading, we'll talk for another 25 minutes or so. We'll also look at a personal and a relationship card for you as well, just for some deeper insights. You'll find the link below. I hope that you'll join me. It's a way to support my channel. I'm just going to clarify these cards. Let's talk about the direction that we'll take that extended reading in for you. We've got the 3 of Cups, beautiful. King of Cups. You know, I just have this feeling that the universe is trying to work with you this month, okay? So you need to be getting out of your own way because things are going to keep getting lined up for you. You've got to be strategic and you've got to make some plans, okay, with regards to how you're going to use that energy. Empress, Knight of Cups. I think that there's just also a 9 of Cups, nice. Ace of Cups, come on now, Gemini. Where is all this passion? It's flowing in. I think there's this sense of, you know, when you've been looking for something to change for so long and it's almost like you give up. And then it starts to show up and there's almost like a little bit of disbelief. It's like, is this really happening? Is this really, can I trust this? You know, I kind of have that energy around you, you know. Lovely aces coming through there as well. And I think, you know, that 5 is very reminiscent of you just contemplating, you know, what it's taken to get to this point. And you know, all these like multicolored butterflies and the rainbow, again, it's just this reminder, like, don't limit yourself. You know, you have to explore lots of different ways to approach something, inviting in lots of different things into your world. This is the time to be the true you, to take the gifts that you have and let them all flourish, okay? There's something really marked about that coming through. I also want to say to you, you're going to get what you need, okay? If there is something that you are focused intently upon, you will get what you need in June, okay? All of that warmth, all of that energy, all of that vitality coming in to support you. So whatever area of your life that has felt maybe there's been some scarcity, some setbacks, some disappointment. Something is bouncing back. Something is coming back into balance, okay? I'm just going to look at Life Soul Vision. This is my own deck. Now, you can check out all my sacred titles. So my oracle deck, my journal, and my book, Moon Musings. You know, all of these were created, written from the heart with the help of my guides here to support you wherever you are in your journey. I love that you have Solstice coming through and the sun. Like I said, it just feels like the universe is trying to work with you. It's on your side this month, okay? Golden ribbons of light, beautiful. And even that spirit wolf coming out first, you know, it's just like, trust this, trust yourself, okay? Right, let's have a look at the oracles for Gemini. Recalibration, perfect. And then one more, let's see. Power, dinosaurs in the Jurassic period. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful birthday month. I am going to see you again next time. And you take good care of yourself, Gemini.